We are back, people! Last year's prediction video is definitely my favorite video I've ever recorded, so of course, I have to do it again. This one is going to be even better, I promise. But before we start, there are a couple things I want to address from last year's video. First of all, my predictions were not that great. I managed to predict half the division winners correctly, and 0 wildcard teams correctly. And all of the wildcard teams I predicted, only 2 of them even made the playoffs. The Honors Award predictions were even worse. I only got 1 correct. I take pride in that Jayden Daniels pick, though. However, there is one prediction I made last year that I want to address, and that is the Garrett Wilson pick for Offensive Player of the Year last year. I stand by everything I said in last year's video, but would I have actually bet money on him winning the award? No. But I wanted to include a dark horse pick. I probably would have said like Christian McCaffrey or Tyreek Hill and would have been wrong anyway. But still. So for this year's video, for all of the awards, I will also be including a dark horse pick in addition to my actual pick. You might be thinking, Jack, you probably did that for your Shroud pick for MVP too. No. I genuinely was all in on that and fully believe that. Not only did Stroud have a worse year, but Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson set the bar way higher than the year prior. But enough talk about last year's video. This one will have some bonus predictions, and it's going to be a great time. So without any more hesitation, let's do this. We are starting with the division winners once again, starting with the AFC South, and this division sucks. So by default, I'm going to say the Texans again, even though I didn't really like their offseason. Their O-line is horrible, and their receiving room is questionable with the Tank Dell injury. Luckily for them, I don't see any of the other teams in that division doing anything, so congrats, Houston. For the NFC South, I'm going with the team that has won the division every year since 2021, and that is the Buccaneers. I ain't drinking the Falcons' Kool-Aid again, and the other 2 teams are nothing special. The Bucs may still be entering the season with a new offensive coordinator for the 3rd straight year, but they still have too much talent for me to pick any other team. So, Tampa Bay is my pick. Now for the AFC North, I'm going with the team that has Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry still. Bengals still don't have an O-line or a defense. Steelers have the worst QB room in the league, and the Browns are, well, the Browns, and have the funniest QB room I have ever seen. The Ravens defense really turned things around after a rough start, and the Malachi Starks and Mike Green picks are only going to make it better. And as long as Lamar Jackson and Henry are healthy, the offense will be fine. The NFC North might have been the most difficult for me to decide on, but I'm going with the Lions again. I was so close to picking the Vikings here, but JJ McCarthy is too much of a question mark. I cannot confidently pick the Vikings without seeing JJ take an NFL snap in the regular season. I do think the Vikings have one of the best rosters in the entire league, but the Lions still have a lot going for them as well. Losing Ben Johnson is going to hurt the offense, but it'll still be fine with the amount of talent that they have. Just probably not as good. The Lions defense is still a little bit iffy, but it doesn't matter if they score more points than you. Give me Detroit to win the NFC North for the 3rd straight year. Man, I am about to get flamed for this one, but I have the Commanders winning the NFC East this year. I think the Commanders had quite a good offseason, and I think the Eagles lost quite a bit of depth. Jayden Daniels, in my opinion, is already the best quarterback in the NFC, and only has more room to grow. Adding Deebo Samuel is a quite underrated move, in my opinion, and Laremy Tunsil is going to make the O-line better. Even if he had some penalty troubles last year, it's still going to be an improvement. Everyone clowned on Washington for signing a bunch of old veterans last year, and a lot of them were actually key contributors in their NFC Championship run. I also think the additions of Javon Kinlaw and Eddie Goldman can help with the run D, and I really liked the Josh Connerly pick. There's a culture building in DC, and I think the Commanders are going to build on it and win the division for the first time since 2020. Also, there can never be a back-to-back winner in the NFC East. That's just science. Wait, you actually want me to explain this one? Are you sure you want me to do this? You might regret it. I'm warning you, this is your last chance. Alright, you asked for it.
Again, Charbonnet. Pushed down and more. Charbonnet! Turning over Jets. Charbonnet takes it to the house. Touchdown, Seahawks.
Man, these pussy ass niggas are fucking trash.
Bronco 14 on first down. Smith to the end zone. Smith and Jigba. Touchdown.
Watch Witherspoon fly in and how quickly he realizes Kyler's keeping it, so he spins out, tracks him down, which is incredibly slow. Kyler Murray so fast, forcing the bad throw. So he's talking shit, then he realizes, oh, I gotta get back, there's a return. Gets in there for the block, goes looking for work on James Conner, and then hits him with the too small. He gets a taunting penalty for that.
Pressure. Rodgers has it picked up by Leonard Williams. Just the second interception of Big Cat's career. And is he going to take it to the house? His own house. He sure is. Pick six. And he flips the game on a huge play.
Here is our first new category, which is one I've secretly done the past 2 years, and both times the team I picked exceeded the parameters this category is meant to cover. This category is dedicated to a team I can see winning 7, 8, maybe 9 games that not a lot of people are talking about, and maybe, just maybe, compete for a wildcard spot. The last 2 times I've done this, I picked the Texans and Commanders, and well, both teams ended up winning playoff games. This year, that team for me is the Carolina Panthers. I love the Tetairoa McMillan pick. Bryce Young finally has someone he can confidently throw the ball to, and I think a reliable target is exactly what he needs to boost his confidence and reach his potential. He was already showing great flashes last year, and this year I think he plays even better. They really did not do a lot in free agency, but I also really like the Nick Scorton pick in the draft. Good QB play can win you a lot of games, and I think the Panthers are trending in the right direction. And if they can win 7 to 9 games this season, I would call that a huge success. Now, the most overrated team heading into the season. This is a category I have not done secretly in the past, but the pick for me is going to have a lot of people trying to rip my head off. It's the Rams.
Sorry, continue.
Yes, I'm a Seahawks fan, and if you want to call me a hater, go ahead. The Rams' strategy of starting the year off like complete ass and turning it on halfway through the season is not sustainable every single year. I've seen so many people say the Rams have had one of the best free agencies, and to me, really? They've only gotten worse on the offensive line, and everyone is acting like signing a 32-year-old wide receiver is going to make their offense go nuclear. I still think Adams is a fine receiver, but he's not the Adams of even 2 years ago anymore. I know Cooper Kupp couldn't really stay healthy, but he was such a good blocker for the Rams, and part of the reason why they had a good rushing attack. I think their run game is going to be worse, and their pass defense is not good. In advanced metrics, they had the 28th ranked pass defense last year, which included 28th in opponent quarterback rating, 25th in yards after catch, and yards per attempt. At the time of this recording, Jalen Ramsey is still a Dolphin, but is adding an older corner to a group whose 2 starters are 30 and 32 years old, respectively, really going to fix things? I think the Rams just got hot at the right time, and their defense looked way better in the playoffs, particularly the Vikings game, than how they played in the regular season. They also got bullied by teams with good rushing attacks, and particularly the Eagles. His team didn't even draft in the first round either. I think the trade will help them in the long run, but it's not going to help them this year. They'll still probably beat my Seahawks twice a year, since Sean McVay is unfortunately our daddy, but that does not change my opinion on this team. I see people who say this team will compete for a ring this year. With an aging quarterback and a skeptical defense, they are not quite there in my opinion. So I may as well jump into my NFC wildcard predictions, where the Rams are not going to be featured, as I have the Eagles, Vikings, and Packers occupying those 3 spots. Eagles are self-explanatory. They are the defending champions. Duh. JJ McCarthy would have to be unbelievably bad for that Vikings team to miss the playoffs, and the Packers are still just a solid team that played amazing against non-divisional opponents last year. So those are my 3 wildcard teams for the NFC. For the AFC, this was a bit more challenging. The one I'm most confident on is the Chargers. I think they got even better, and another year of Jim Harbaugh will do wonders for the team. My second pick is the Denver Broncos, because I legitimately think they might have the best defense in the entire league with the moves they made this offseason. I'm a little skeptical on the offense, but they have a great O-line, so I think they will be good enough. And for my final pick, I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers because of who their coach is. He's gonna find a way to be there. I really wanted to sneak the Raiders into one of those spots, but their division is just too stacked. I think the Raiders can definitely win 9 games this year, but that probably won't be enough to get them into the dance, unfortunately. Now let's steer away from talking about whole teams and focus on individual players. For Rookies of the Year, there's one big elephant in the room, and his name is Travis Hunter. And, spoiler alert, I have him winning both awards. I know the Jaguars said they are primarily going to play him on offense, but if he can get 900 with 1,000 yards receiving and like 4 picks on defense, the amount of marketing the NFL can do to have a singular player win both awards would be insane. Since I started watching football about 15 years ago now, I've only seen about 2 prospects that I would label as generational. It's a term that I think gets thrown around too much, but Andrew Luck was the first one, and he probably would have been a first ballot Hall of Famer had his career not got cut short. And Travis Hunter is the other. The league has never seen a player truly like this, and the Jaguars only really giving up a first for him is almost highway robbery in my opinion. Now, I'm going to give you one player on each side of the ball I could see winning Rookie of the Year if it is not Travis Hunter. Defense is an easy pick for me. It's Abdul Carter. The Giants' pass rush this year is going to be frightening in my opinion, and Carter is going to be seeing way more one-on-ones than he should be with guys like Thibodeau and Burns in the rotation. For Offensive Rookie of the Year, though, I'm going with someone not a lot of people are talking about, and that's Marion Hampton. I think the fit is so good for him with Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman's style offense. The Chargers continue to beef up the O-line by bringing in the massive Mekhi Becton from the Eagles. I like Hampton over Gentry purely for this situation. The Raiders' O-line is not nearly as good as the Chargers, and that is a big difference for me. Saquon Barkley is proof of what talent can do behind an amazing O-line, and Gentry's talent can only do so much for him. So give me Hampton for O'Roy. Now, we're going to do what I'm going to call the Puka Nacua Award. This award goes to a player taken in the 4th round or later that I think can legitimately be a Rookie of the Year finalist and be a household name. And I'm not including Shedeur Sanders in this, as everyone knows who he is already. Last year I didn't really have anyone like this, but the year prior you had Puka Nacua, of course, be an Offensive Rookie of the Year finalist. The year before you had Tariq Woolen be a Defensive Rookie of the Year finalist. Deron Bland was a Defensive Player of the Year finalist. Isaiah Pacheco was a great pick for the Chiefs in the 7th round. Full disclosure, this is purely a guess. I'm not some crazy draft nerd that knows everything about all the prospects, but my pick is going to be Ravens' 6th round pick, LaJohntay Wester. He reminds me a lot of Zay Flowers, and with his height and his elusiveness. Full shot in the dark here, but don't be surprised if LaJohntay Wester becomes a household name by the end of the season. I am not delusional. Now we're going for my Breakout Player of the Year award. The name is self-explanatory, and in my opinion it's going to Marvin Harrison Jr. to try and live up to his potential. This man is too talented and too gifted to not at least be an 1,100-yard receiver. He's more settled into the NFL now, and I think he is massively improves upon what many view as an underwhelming rookie season. He showed his flashes, including that monster first half against the Rams, and I think this year he does it more often. Back to real awards, I'm going to go with Comeback Player of the Year next, and there are a couple good options. CMC is one of the more obvious options, but to me this award is Aiden Hutchinson's to lose. This man was on pace for 25.5 sacks last year. Yeah, I'm not kidding. He was averaging over a sack and a half a game. He legitimately could have had one of the best defensive seasons in league history. He is going to be hungry to set that pace again. And spoiler alert, he is my pick for Defensive Player of the Year too, if that was not obvious. Did someone say Mike McDonald? Best coach in league history. No one is really close either. My dark horse pick for Coach of the Year is Dave Canales, for everything I said about the Panthers earlier. For Offensive Player of the Year, I will take the safe bet and say Saquon again. You can't have one of the best rushing seasons ever and not be the heavy favorite to win the award again. That was an easy one. For my dark horse pick for the award, I'm going to go with Giants second-year receiver Malik Nabers. Especially if Jameis Winston starts and is force-feeding the ball, or Russ is dropping moonballs to him, or if Jackson Dart is throwing darts. I'm so sorry. Nabers is so unbelievably talented, and anything is better than Daniel Jones throwing him the ball. He still had 1,200 yards last year. Unreal. My dark horse pick for Defensive Player of the Year is going to be my man Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams probably would have won the award last year if he played how he did in the second half of the season for the entire season. Just look at these numbers from the second half of the season that he was putting up. Another year on the future Coach of the Year's defense is going to make Big Cat a big award winner. And now for the NFL's Most Valuable Player award. I don't think I have to think about this one. It's Jake Bobo. Alright, fine, I'll give you a second place pick. Jokes aside, the award for best quarterback has some great options. But to me, it comes down to the same three quarterbacks as last year. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, or Joe Burrow. I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson though. In my opinion, the last two MVPs should have been swapped. I think Allen should have won it in 2023, and Lamar should have won it last year. I think the voter fatigue wears off, and Lamar impresses again and takes home the MVP for the third time. And finally, we're going to go with my dark horse MVP pick, and I will go with Caleb Williams here. Ben Johnson is in town. Ben Johnson made Jared Goff get MVP votes. And if the Bears can make the playoffs, being a part of the toughest division in the league, and if Zesty Man becomes the first 4,000-yard passer in Bears franchise history, he has a very legitimate chance to win the award. I may as well slip in a Super Bowl prediction this time around as well, and I have the Seahawks defeating the Ravens by a final score of 56-2. I think the Ravens get a safety on the first play of the game, and then the Seahawks completely destroy him. Mike McDonald remembers why the Ravens never should have let him go, and slaps his ginormous cock all over their team, and the Seahawks get their second win in the Super Bowl in their franchise's history, and the start of probably at least 20 straight Super Bowl wins. And as the 2024 Dr. Pigskin Super Bowl wizard, do you really want to go against my opinion and judgment? Didn't think so. And that is going to do it for this year's NFL predictions video. For more categories, I wanted to definitely speed it up a little bit. There were definitely some picks last year I droned on for a bit too long, which I kind of did a little bit this year, in particular that Rams one. But still, I'm very happy and confident in my picks that they will all be right this time. And I'm excited to get this video out. Seahawks to the bowl, and hope y'all are doing great.